Greetings, Elder Blacklight. On this channel, Blacklight Soul School, we got the kind of flavor that will save you, the kind of knowledge you won't get in college, and the kind of news that you definitely can use. On MSNBC, one day ago, they had a video entitled "The Real Reason Grocery Shelves Are Empty." We're going to go to that video. But that video right there is sort of like a propaganda to heighten your fear, so you become desperate. And you got to stay cool. Don't let the stress make you a mess. And realize that we really are blessed. See, the earth always produces, especially now in spring and getting ready to be summer. You just got to get some seeds, go to your backyard, dig up your whole backyard if necessary, plant you some seeds, and learn be an agriculture. There's brothers here in Detroit that has urban farming going on, fish farms. See, in Detroit, we got almost a majority black. Well, we do got a majority black city. That's why we went in quarantine first. Detroit was in quarantine. The elders. Now I'm an elder. 74, born in 1946. They're gonna knock us off. Save some of that Social Security money for themselves. Most of us living other than self, eating. Well, we're not eating to live, but we living to eat. And we didn't pass on any knowledge to the young ones on what kind of system we living in, a devilish system. So now y'all up in them nursing homes, in the hospitals, and the young ones, y'all went along with what was going on. Y'all went, the black people, for the most part in America, there's only very few that's rebelling. To my surprise, even Farrakhan and them is going along with it, because he knew he was supposed to keep them farms up and whatever other business he had going. Even though Wallace sold them, he could have started them all over again. Wasn't nothing in his way but air and opportunity. And, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not just a man of words, but he was a man of action. Now, the way I look at this is this. Don't give that money back to him. It's over with. His authority, he don't have no authority over us if we unite. Individually, he'll pick us off one at a time. But if whole neighborhoods unite, and realize that they're going to have to resist what's getting ready to come on them and set up strategies to protect themselves at all times while advancing the agenda of the neighborhood. Self-sufficient. We have to start growing our own food. We're going to have to start sowing. Don't go to them hospitals when you get sick. Don't be stressed out. Don't be nervous. Some point in time, you should get mad, but it should be controlled. You should get angry for what they're trying to do, but it should be controlled. Let me show you what's going on. Then, if necessary, we'll come back with a part 2.
Tonight, we are seeing signs that the country's food supply chain is under significant stress. Here are 2 scenes. These are the enormous lines for the LA Regional Food Bank over the weekend, with cars stretching for miles. We've seen this kind of scene play out all over the country. People are desperate for food. They're having trouble feeding their families, their kids particularly. And here's another scene. This is what some dairy farmers are doing, dumping out thousands of gallons of fresh milk every day. Other farmers are destroying crops outright, plowing, for instance, ripe vegetables right back into the ground. Because with restaurants, schools, and hotels and other things closed, farmers that are part of the commercial food supply chain just don't have anywhere to sell their products. Also, the front-line workers, those that are keeping the food chain going, they are clearly at tremendous risk. They're still in the fields picking produce with minimal to no protection, particularly immigrants without papers. This is what it looks like inside a pork processing plant. People working there have to stand shoulder to shoulder. Yesterday, one of the largest plants in the country shut down in South Dakota indefinitely after nearly 300 employees tested positive for coronavirus. That's nearly a third of the cases in the entire state. The food supply chain is one of those things the vast majority of us, I think, tend to take for granted. You go to a restaurant or a grocery store or a fast food chain and the food is just there. But this crisis is putting stress on all parts of it from every angle. Last week, we brought you an interesting story about our toilet paper supply. And that reporting showed that the reason there's a shortage of toilet paper at stores is only really partly because people are hoarding this stuff. It's more because the industry is split into 2 markets. There's a commercial one and a consumer one. And everyone at home is now using the consumer product. And the commercial one, the one that's usually given to businesses and campuses and office buildings, cannot be easily made available for residential use. Well, guess what? It turns out the food supply chain is structured in a similar way. While grocery stores are having a hard time keeping things in stock, there is an entire food chain designed to sell bulk food to fast food stores and restaurants that is essentially being left to rot. And that is because a supply chain, as one dairy industry advocate explains, is tough to just switch around.
Because oftentimes the packaging and the size of the product that's delivered to grocery stores or distributed through those avenues of food service are much larger and not necessarily for family use.
This weekend, Wall Street Journal's agriculture reporter Jesse Newman wrote about coronavirus's impact on our food supply chain, specifically why farmers are dumping milk and breaking eggs in the middle of a pandemic. Jesse Newman joins me now. And Jesse, you've been doing great reporting on this that I've been following avidly. Talk to me a little bit about this conundrum here, the paradox of these sort of 2 supply chains, and the fact that one of them is so in sort of disuse at this strange moment that there's tons of food being produced with nowhere to go.
Yeah, thanks. It's a really strange situation that farmers and food producers find themselves in. You know, in the past few months since all of this began, we've seen just massive upheaval in the food supply chain. And, you know, at the beginning, we saw consumers flocking to grocery stores and clearing shelves of just about every product in anticipation.
So they want to blame this on us now.
At home. And so we started looking at, well, what is the strength of this food supply chain? And early on, we learned that there was plenty of food in the country. So our cold storage warehouses were full of products like chicken and pork, and there was plenty of fresh produce on farms and on orchards, and plenty of grain in grain bins. But it's become clear over time that this huge shift was needed to take place in order to get that food to consumers. So as restaurants closed, restaurants and school cafeterias, all of that food that was destined for those outlets needed to be shifted to grocery stores, and as it turns out, that's tough to do.
Right, so
we're going to pause it right here.
The food is there, but they don't have the relationships, the distributor.
Now, the powers, all this power is within you. You got all the power that you need. First, you got to realize that you got power. See, you're the originator. You got to go back to the original world order, when the Caucasian wasn't even on the planet. I know y'all don't believe it. We are the power. Now, the problem is convincing you and yourself that you can defeat this situation. But you got to separate and unite. We can do it. Now, YouTube is the only way we can get it out in masses. But you can start organizing your neighborhood right now. First, get a hood research team together. Research stuff for yourself. Don't depend on the news to give it to you, because they're part of the problem. Some things they're going to tell you is the truth, but then they're going to mislead you on other things. Second thing you got to do is, in those vacant lots in your backyard, now it's getting to be summertime, start planting you some vegetables. You know, we're gonna be laying out things to do. The point is, you can lead a mule to water, but can you make them drink? You know how stubborn black people are. They stubborn as mules. You know, they're not gonna listen to a brother like me, because it don't seem like I'm educated. Don Elijah Muhammad wasn't educated, but he had supreme wisdom. This is Black Light. Stay cool, calm, and collective at all times. Peace.